Forbidden donuts, dark magic, resin is toxic, layer shifting, and resin printers that just don't freaking work. All of this and more. Print Fail Friday, episode 10. Let's get into it. Hey, thanks for joining us. Print Fail Friday, episode 10. Happy. Got to episode 10. We're still going. This is always a lot of fun. We got a fan submission here from 3D Printy over at Twitter. And it says that proof that 3D printing is at least 10% dark magic. Can confirm. Even when running a G-code that you've printed hundreds of times before, figure 1. Using the same printer, same filament, and tuned offset, figure 2. Every once in a while, 3D printing will surprise you. Hashtag PrintFail. That's how you get our attention. Also, tag us in the photos so we see it. We got some real good-looking prints. Like, real good-looking prints. Clean first layer. It's a textured sheet on a Prusa. And then this. Why? I don't know. We've got some extrusion issues, potentially a clog. And that's what they talk about here. Normally I blame Filament for random clogs. Something happened here. But this is very atypical for this brand. In fact, the exact roll turned out multiple good prints before this one. So, dark magic. No. Clearly there's some sort of a jam going on here. Likely you didn't get this perimeter to stick, and then the ones above it just didn't stick either. We've lost some of that bottom layer. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a bit of a filament clog. It happens, right? This could be dust. It could even be your own dang fault, right? When you've got a bunch of printers running, especially around, your supervisors, this kind of thing can happen. Where you get either some hair, some dirt, some dust, whatever, clogs up the nozzle. The printer might push through it, but it also might not. So I think that's what happened here. It looks like it ended up pushing through it. Bit of a bummer, but yeah, like 10%. Huh? Forbidden donut. Womp, womp, indeed. We got a bit of the womp womps over here, and we talk about making sure that your filament is dry. We talk about putting that filament into an oven. And I've talked about it a couple of times in the past, where standard, generic, cheap, run-of-the-mill ovens don't have great temperature sensing and can, very often do, overshoot by quite a bit. Now, the spools are, generally speaking, ABS or polystyrene. That's about the only two materials that we see spools made out of. Although Printed Solid just came out with a cardboard and metal tube. We're gonna have a video about that coming soon. A little short of an unboxing because one of those new spools is in the brand new Filament mystery box. And we're going to have Dave Randolph on the podcast this weekend, tomorrow. So make sure you guys get subscribed and come hang out with us at 1 p.m. Eastern, where Dave Randolph, the big cheese behind Printed Solid, is going to come on. We're going to talk all about 3D printing. It's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, this is a bit of a bummer. This is shot, right? Toss it in the garbage. Unfortunately, you can't even recycle this unless the spool and the material you're printing are the exact same material. If they're not, you can't recycle it, and there's literally nothing you can do. I have had this happen once, and it's why I stopped using ovens for this. Get a filament dehydrator or a food dehydrator. You can get a print dry, I think is what they're called. We'll put it here if that's what it's actually called. And there are some odd ones from Amazon that we are looking to test up against some more of the DIY versions, so that's a potential video coming in the future. Gotta see how that one works out, though. This is what happens when your temperature is set too high or your oven goes over temp. For those that don't know, ovens operate on bang, bang, on or off. whereas 3D printers use PID, where technically it is on and off, but it's on and off so many times it's basically pulse width modulating to 60%, 50%, 80%, 90%, whatever. Whereas the ovens are just like, oh, okay, I'm at 200 degrees, I gotta get to 250. As soon as I hit 200, I'm gonna stop because the residual heat in my coils should get me to 250. Well, sometimes they're not tuned well, and this is what happens. So if you are going to dry your filament in an oven, the absolute lowest setting possible. If you need to, leave the door open. I know it sucks, but you know what? It's coming to winter time in the northern hemisphere, so great way to heat your house and dry your filament. But if you live in a space where you are going to be heating your house, it's probably quite dry as it is, so your filament's naturally just going to dry off. But yeah, bit of a bummer. Easy fix, don't use an oven. You can use it, but you gotta watch it. So, Forbidden Donut, don't eat it. My Flexi Dragon V2, so satisfying taking it off. Well, let's take a look. Sir. Ma'am. Sir. Guys. Guys. No! Resin is toxic. Don't do this. Don't do this. You, user that posted this, shame on you. Resin is toxic. And I know that we've effectively turned it into a meme here, but I'm being fucking serious as a heart attack. This is dangerous. Very dangerous. You can't do this. And you're gonna shake it. You are not Outcast. This is not a Polaroid picture, and you shouldn't even shake Polaroid pictures as it is. Just, no. 1, wear some gloves. Jeez. How complicated is this? 2, don't touch raw resin. There is raw resin on your print now. I can maybe, just maybe it's not wet with liquid resin. It's wet because it came out of a wash and cure station. I still don't care. Don't friggin' touch it. If it's not dry from the wash and cure, chances are there's raw resin still on your part because of the wash and cure. Guys, don't do this. Like, okay, don't get me wrong, ultra satisfying. Also, good lord, your build plate. Who hurt you? I don't like, these are like tissues. Don't use tissues for this either, or paper towels for that matter. Get a silicone mat. You can get a silicone mat from Wham Bam. They have their slap mats, which are perfect for this because they've got that raised edge. You can use metal cookie sheets. You can use silicone cookie sheets. I don't care. But don't use an absorbing product, okay? Because chances are, your dumbass, if you're going to handle it like this, you're probably not going to cure your paper towels that you're going to put into your trash. That is then going to contaminate the local waste processing facilities. Now, okay, maybe it ends up in the sun, maybe it cures itself, Grant. You're overreacting. Am I? I get it, right? You could pour a liter of resin out for the homies, and the likelihood of having a massive environmental impact is minimal. But if everybody does their part to not pour out a liter of resin for the homies, we won't have this problem. So let's be clear. Don't do this. Resin is toxic. Wear some damn gloves. And don't jiggle around raw resin parts. And also, resin is toxic. Is this layer shift due to X-axis belt tension? You have a Prusa. It will tell you these things. If you go to your menu and scroll down to support, you can actually check to see your belt tension in there. The machine can test all of these things. And inside of calibration, you can actually have it run a belt tension checker. And then you can verify on the Prusa website that you are within those bounding boxes for what it needs to be. I would guess no. The reason I'm going to guess no is that I only see one piece on the bed, right? Because it's only one piece is outlined here. I do see something here. Your bearings are grinding into your x-axis. It might be your bearings are failing. I don't know. If your printer is running really loud, your x-axis bearings are actually failing. You need to replace those smooth rods as well. The shift is 100% in the x-axis, so at least that's fine. These parts do kind of suck. You might have too high of an acceleration, but I would start with that belt tension. It's easy to check it. It's like right there in the menus. If you are too tight, loosen it up. And if you're too loose, tighten it up. But turn off the stepper motors. You can just do that by disabling the steppers, and then move the x-axis slowly and then quickly. Verify that your bearings are not shot. Now, they're definitely grinding a little bit. Now, this isn't the end of the world as we know it. I'm doing fine. Are you? You can technically rotate the rod like 1/8 of a turn and basically get brand new steel rod, but you will want to make sure that if you're going to do that, go ahead and pull apart your x-axis, get those bearings off, and repack them with grease. That is an important thing to do. If you're like me and you oil instead of grease, you can apply oil, but you have to do it at reasonable maintenance intervals. We did an entire series about keeping your printer maintained. We'll card to those series up there so you guys can take a look at them. Because maintenance is a big deal and it is often overlooked. And I am, of course, guilty as anybody else. Just like I'm guilty of this segue to our sponsor, 3D Musketeers. If you want to get your ideas out of your head and into your hands, with full art-to-part rapid prototyping and product development, you can reach out to us, 3D Musketeers. We are experts in 3D printing. It's literally one of the reasons we do PrintFailFriday, to help you guys get your prints a little bit better. But we recognize that 3D printing can be, well, a little bit challenging from time to time. And if you are at that point where you're just saying, F it, I'm gonna yeet my printer out of a window, give us a call first. 1, might be able to help you fix your problem. 2, we can do the print for you. And yes, there's gonna be a little bit of cash involved in it, but is your headache really worth it? I'd hedge not. And if you have a small business and you are looking to build a product or an idea, we are here to help you make that a reality. And again, you can reach out to us, 3D Musketeers. Links will be down below. And if you want to support these efforts directly, you can do so right over at Patreon. Patreon.com/3D Musketeers. We have tiers starting as low as $1 to help support what we do. And if you want to see some behind the scenes stuff, the $10 tier gets you access to our Discord, where we hang out basically every single day. You can come see what's going on behind the scenes. I'm testing out some really cool products right now that we are building in-house for you guys. And I'm sharing a lot of that testing process inside of our Discord. So if you want to come hang out, talk shop with me, you can do so on the Discord. Go over to Patreon, kick us a couple of bucks. But before you do, finish this video, hit subscribe and leave a like. Ring that bell like it owes you money. Let's keep moving. Can't figure out these blobs. So I've been having some trouble with my extrusion lately, but when I finally got it dialed in, it randomly spewed these blobs every once in a while. Any advice or tips? They have an image. It's an Ender 3 Pro, Cura Slicer, 210 on the nozzle, 60 on the bed, print speed 50, nozzle retraction 25 millimeters per second. We have just the one photo. We can see that there's a little bit of extra material here. I don't think your first layer is all that clean. It looks a little close to me. Maybe you were leveling that bed at the same time, but it does look like you have a bit of a back pressure problem. Now, 25 millimeters per second is fine, actually. That's a little bit low. I might up it to 35. If you are over extruding, which from the photo, you might be a little bit, Like, it's definitely a little too much at this edge, but it looks like there's like a bokeh effect or something on the photo where it goes out of focus. So I'm having a hard time completely understanding it, but bear with me nonetheless. I would check your steps per millimeter, verify you're not over extruding. You might be and not know it. You can cheat during a print and just turn down your flow rate to see if that makes things a little bit better. But also check to make sure that your nozzle isn't leaking, your heat break isn't leaking, or something in your hot end assembly is not leaking, because the leaking could cause this too. Now, generally, leaking would be very burned and dark looking plastic. This is pretty clean, so this might just be overspray, if you will, from the over extrusion. I'd look at dialing in those steps per millimeter. We did a video on this with the Ender 3 Pro that we had that I wrongfully called Ender 3 Max for like 80% of the video. We'll card to that video so you can go take a look at that one as well, because it's the same printer, which is kind of cool. I believe the number was 140 steps per millimeter, but that was with the dual gear extruder. Anyways, try out those things first. Let's get a follow-up on this one. I'd be curious to see what happens. Elegoo Mars 2 not sticking to bed. Hi, I just tried my first print and the raft got stuck to the tub. 2 problems, dos problemos. Not sure why it didn't stick to the bed. There's a myriad of reasons potential. 2, I might have scratched and dented the plastic on the tub with my finger. The FEP sheet, it's probably alright, but, you know. I'm in New York, the room is cold. Ah, we have a clue.
I see a clue.
Slice the file with Chi2 Box. Bleh. If you want to see my opinion on Chi2 Box, we have a whole series on them and their shenanigans. We'll card to it so you guys can go take a look. Elegoo resin, that's fine. I've used some Elegoo resin before. I prefer Soraya Tech, but Elegoo resin is just fine. The printer settings are... you guys can read them. The layer height seems fine. Bottom layer count seems fine. Exposure time seems fine. Bottom exposure time is fine. A lot of what I'm seeing there is fine, right? Nothing that is out of the ordinary that would give me cause for concern. The room being cold is... resin does not like to be cold. You will want it to be at least 20 C, preferably 25 to 30 C. Is it necessary? No. It is on the engineering grade resins like Soraya Tech's Tough Resin. They're Tough Blue. They may not be on the Elegoo Beige. I don't know because I don't have any experience specifically with the Elegoo Beige. Have you leveled your build plate? If your build plate is not level, it's not going to stick to it anyways, right? It's just not going to stick if it's not level. Leveling procedure is as follows. With the printer came a card. Remove the vat from your printer, make sure there aren't any leaks, set it on a clean, dry surface that is non-porous, like granite or tile that is smooth. Use that piece of paper, put that where the vat of resin used to be, go to your print bed, loosen the screw on the front of it, and on the side of it, it will kind of drop a little bit. Now, home the printer will go all the way down, and basically level the bed out, align it, make sure it's square with the screen, tighten up those two, and Bob's, you're onto. You've done it. You've leveled your Elegoo Mars 2 Pro Resin 3D printer. One of my favorite Resin 3D printers, by the way, for under 300 bucks. They're great machines. We're gonna have a holiday buying guide coming up soon, so get subscribed for that as well. You might have dented the FEP. It's probably okay if you didn't push up too hard on it. Scratching, unless you cut through it, I wouldn't worry about it. It's a brand new piece. It's probably fine. Get that bed re-level. Make sure the bed is clean. If you're wondering if your bed might be dirty, clean it with isopropyl alcohol first before you go ahead and start a print. Sometimes, this was back in the day with the original Mars, I don't know if the Mars 2 Pro has this problem or not, but you might need to add a little bit of roughness to your print bed. To do that, we use 600 and 800 grit sandpaper just to rough it up a little bit, but then we are vigorously cleaning that bed with isopropyl alcohol. Now, what that does is it gives more surface area because of the scratches for the resin to cure into and grab hold with dear life. Now, I want you to print the Amerilabs Toontown test model. We'll link to that in the description. That will help you understand if your exposure settings are correct, if your layer times are correct, if you have enough layer off time before the light turns back on. There are so many different settings. And also, get the fuck out of Cheetu Box and get into Lychee Slicer. Some people love Cheetu. I don't. Spoiler alert. I prefer Lychee, and they have a free version, and it will likely do everything you need it to do. And if it doesn't, the pro version is 30 bucks the first year and 50 bucks every year after that. I've got a problem paying Cheetu Pro's $169 license when the software is still as buggy as regular Cheetu Box, whereas Lychee Slicer not only is updated constantly, they provide beta softwares to their Discord community for you to test out early. And let me tell you, it's great. We're going to be doing an entire comprehensive video on Lychee Slicer when they launch their brand new version to the public, and I could not be more excited for this. But that's just my personal opinion. They don't pay me to say that. I wish they did, but they don't. I would look at getting that room warm. A little space heater might help, but with your regular beige resin, it might not be that much of an issue. Make sure that bed is level, run the Toontown test print so you know what's going on with it, and we'll link to the video down in the description as well so you can see how to look at it and understand it. And we're going to do a video on it as well because I think it would be good for more than one channel to have a video on it. Give all that a shot. Resin printing can be very, very challenging, but once you get it, really, it just comes down to dealing with the mess because remember, ladies and gentlemen, resin is toxic. By the way, do you want resin is toxic merch? I don't know if that's a thing. Would anybody buy that? Would I even wear that? I probably would wear that. Let me know down in those comments. I don't know. Does anybody know what is causing my supports to look like this? More in the comments. That's not great. They're using Cura, and their support settings are 10% infill. This only happens when I try to start the support on the actual print. I'm not really sure what settings can fix this in Cura. Okay, that's a very good thing to know. So I looked at this and said, oh, they're having bed adhesion problems. No, they're having issues with it sticking to their part. You are dealing with separation layers. You have too much separation layer between your part and your support. Here's the deal, though. Decreasing that separation amount will increase how much of a chance that you have of that support welding itself to your part and not only creating marks, but potentially breaking the part when you try to remove it. So there will be a very fine line between this works great and oh crap, I can't get this off. So take your time on this one. There are some great test prints out there that you can utilize to play around with this, but it is just your layer separation. I believe we covered this in our Cura video. I'll card to it, but if not, we'll do a direct video on this because I think these are really good, like, quick tips that we could do that are all about the 3D printing industry and one very specific topic every time. Let me know in those comments as well. Would that be something you guys would watch, like a quick tip, maybe a YouTube short where it's that vertical video, which might be a little bit weird, but I can try. We're just trying to do more content that we believe the average user would benefit from and would search for. So the big thing there is if you don't know what's wrong, you don't know what to search for, and you may not be able to find the solution. So I'm hoping like these bigger videos are the catch-all, and maybe those quick tips would be something that is more hyper-focused. I don't know. Love to hear your thoughts down in those comments. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for you today. Make sure before you head out of here that you leave a like. Make sure you're subscribed because I just checked our metrics. And like 89% of you are not subscribed. And while we appreciate the support, we would love to earn your subscription. And if we haven't, let me know how we can down in those comments. I would love to know. It helps us make better videos for you guys. I do have something I need to ask of you. I need you to stay safe out there. I need you to not forget to call your loved ones. And of course, as always, keep making awesome. Pet your cats more. Have a good one. Oh, you like this. Oh, this cat is in heaven right now. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and an especially massive thank you goes out to all of our patrons. The $5 tier and higher gets your name right next to me. Thank you guys for supporting what we do, and if you want to support the efforts here at 3D Musketeers, you can do so at patreon.com/3D Musketeers. Right below me will be the entire Print Fail Friday series, because, hey, this is episode 10. I think next week we might do a joke one. I'll let you guys know. I'm considering it. And right next to that will be the Ender 3 series, because that happened a couple of times in here where we referenced that. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on these fails. Do you have fails like this? Hopefully these ones are helping you all. I will see you down in those comments and in the next video. Take care.